John Diaz, the next question for Mr. Newsom.
Mr. Newsom, in 2008, you were an early supporter of high-speed rail. 6 years later, you dialed back that support. 2 years ago, you pivoted yet again and said you would try to find new funding for it. Can you tell Californians where you stand tonight?
Well, I support high-speed rail. I support the original vision, but I was very open about my critique of the business plan at the time. And in so many respects, I've been validated. That business plan is radically changed. As you know, the prioritization of the high-speed rail now is valley to valley, Silicon Valley to the Central Valley. All of a sudden now we have more transparency, we have new leadership, and I applaud the governor's choice of Brian Kelly to lead that charge. I've long supported the vision, but I've been honest about the financing. The reality is we can accomplish the goal of getting this first phase between the two valleys. We have the $9.95 billion in the bonds the voters approved, the $3.5 billion from the federal government, and the utilization of the cap-and-trade program will get us within at least $5 to $7 billion of completing that phase one. The goal then is to demonstrate the technology, then to bring in the private sector so we can address the issue of how do we get it over the Tehachapi Mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains, that 36 miles of tunneling, which there is today no identifiable financing for, and I would advocate trying to locate that.
All right, Ms. Eastin, you 30 seconds on this issue of the light rail.
All of us who have traveled to Europe and to Asia know how amazing it is, and we also know that, in fact, in some countries you're given work credit time for being on a high-speed rail. And so I think it's a worthy idea, but you can't pay for this very expensive project out of the existing resources of California. There's a little bit of money on the table, but I would suggest we do what other conservative states like Alaska, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Arkansas have done, and have an oil severance tax and use that to build transportation improvements like high-speed rail.
All right. Mr. Villaraigosa, 30 seconds.
Well, I'm the person that built 3 light rail lines and 1 busway, and I've been in 8 years more than any city in the United States of America. And I can tell you, I've been for high-speed rail since 1998, and I have because it connects the 2 engines of the California economy, the north and the south, with the one place that has the highest poverty rate and the highest unemployment rate. It's an opportunity to grow together. The gravamen of my campaign is that we can't continue to grow apart. We've got to grow together, and this engine can help us do it.
Mr. Chiang, can we afford it?
Well, we're competing in a global economy. If you look at the other powerful economies, Japan, China, France, they have high-speed rail. I so strongly support high-speed rail. Well, I'm doing a cut above. I've traveled with people through to various countries seeking the private sector funding. It's always been contemplated in the original design of high-speed rail that it would not strictly be dependent on public funding, that we would require and seek the private sector funding. So as governor, I would convene private sector experts, the financing experts, so that we can get the resources to complete this project.
Mr. Cox.
The first thing I do is get rid of sanctuary cities. The second thing I do is get rid of the high-speed rail. And, you know, this is a testament to political corruption. The company that built the TGV in France wanted to put it down the middle of the 5, where the overpasses are already built. You don't need the environmental issues. And, of course, they built it in 2 congressmen's districts because they traded their vote for Obamacare to get it built there, because that was what they wanted for their districts to generate jobs. That's the problem here, political corruption, and we've wasted billions on this job. It's gone the minute I'm governor. And
Mr. Allen.
The high-speed rail is a boondoggle. It was passed as a $10 billion bond with an original price tag of $45 billion. The current price is $77 billion to over $100 billion, and it's well over a decade further out from ever being built. I'll tell you right now, it's never going to be built. In my very first budget as your next governor, I will line item veto the high-speed rail out of existence, and I will return all of the excess money to you, the California taxpayers. But we're going to leave one section standing in the middle of Central Valley. You might have seen it. It looks like a bridge. It's in the middle of a field. We're going to leave that one section, and we're going to hang a sign on it. It's going to read very simply, Jerry Brown's legacy.
Mr. Newsom, I want to actually follow up in this respect. You're showing some, I call it fiscal skepticism about the light rail deal, meaning you want to make sure the funding works, and I get that. On your single-payer plan, it's not clear how you fully pay for this. One of the ideas out there is a $400 billion expenditure. Right. California didn't have that money, and I believe you're up to $300 billion, and you want a lot of money that from the federal government that they probably won't give you.
Chuck, the difference is that's money we're already spending in the healthcare system. by conservative estimates, $367.5 billion a year, according to UCLA, has already been spent on our healthcare delivery system. Other estimates are north of $400 million. It's about redirecting existing resources in a more efficient and effective manner. But as it relates to high-speed rail, just don't be misled by Mr. Allen. You can't send back that money. You'd be sending it back to Donald Trump. $3.5 billion stipulates for a specific purpose, a specific project. Plus the $9.95 billion approved by the voters has to go to the high-speed rail system. This is a lot of the mythology that the opponents have been promoting, that somehow these dollars could be redirected for other purposes.
Mind if I answer that?
Go ahead. 30 seconds.
So, I appreciate Gavin's ineptitude to give me the chance to respond. This is very simple. We defunded in the very first budget. That leaves the funds sitting there. Then we take this directly to the people of California through a special election ballot initiative to return the funds exactly where they belong to you, the California taxpayers. California does not need a high-speed rail. What we need to do is fix our second worst in the nation roads and get us out of the worst in the nation traffic. If you want to go anywhere in the state of California, you can take Southwest Airlines for $59 each way, and you better believe we'll build a bigger airport in the middle of Central Valley so you can get there too.
Wow. Okay.